So this morning, I'm going to talk about how to achieve anything in your life. How to achieve anything. It's 3 things you need to achieve anything in your life. But before I get into that, tonight, don't forget, at 6:30 p.m. BST, I'm going to go live on Facebook. It will only be on Facebook. So if you're on Instagram, you're going to have to come and join me on Facebook. I'll go live on Facebook, which is 6:30 BST, which is 13:30 EST, for anyone that's watching this on catch up when they wake up in the morning from the US. So 6:30 tonight PM on Facebook at Andy Ramage Official. We're going to do this prize draw for the Apple iWatch. Go on, the Apple iWatch. And to win, to be gifted the Apple iWatch, you have to do a couple of things. Firstly, you have to be subscribed to the priority list, which you can access by clicking the link in the bio on Insta or the link below on the Facebooker. Subscribe to the podcast, the Andy Ramage podcast, download the first 3 episodes, and then there's a question going to come that's been embedded in those first 3 episodes. So if you've watched those first 3 episodes and you're on the priority list and you've subscribed, right, you're in the game, right? There's not going to be like squillions of people, so you've got a high chance of actually winning it. So do join me tonight. Bit of fun, a little giveaway. I've never done anything like that before. 6:30 p.m. BST tonight, where I'll do the pre-giveaway for the first person that's on the priority list, that's subscribed to the podcast, that answers the question correctly that I shall ask. I'll probably warm it up for a little while and then I'll answer the question. So I'll give everyone plenty of time to get on. And that gives you a day to get to the podcast and listen to the podcast and whatnot. And yesterday, because took a little while for it to sort itself out, but I think it appears that it's in most places now. Karen, can't find the podcast on Apple Podcasts yet. I can see them on iTunes now. Yeah, so I think for some people it's coming through, for others it's not. You can always go to YouTube as well, don't forget, right? So Andy Ramage on YouTube, there's episodes on there. So do go and check that. It's there. Yeah, I think we're seeing it come through now. So if anyone gets really, really stuck, drop team at Andy Ramage an email and we'll help you out. But from what we can see it on most of the major platforms. It might just take a little while to come through. So you should have time. So just get stuck in. Just get stuck into that first one. Right, there it is. Look, Steph's put a link up in the chat in Facebook. Fab. Amanda says it's on Apple Podcast today. Go on then, get in there. Yes. See, this is what I'm going to talk about now. This is what I want to talk about today. How to achieve anything. You need just 3 things, right? And the 3 things are thus. You need consistency. You need time. And you need the most important ingredient of all, the willingness to fail. Right, that is the really important last piece, the willingness to fail. Because all those bits are incredibly difficult to manage together for most people, yet they're actually quite simple when you think about it. No matter what it is that you're trying to achieve in your life, from taking a break from the booze to literally climbing Mount Everest, if that was your goal. All you really need is consistency over time. Just think about that. Whatever it is you want to do, whether you want to transform your body, transform your mind, transform your career, transform your finances, what we need invariably is consistency over time. And that's the bit that people struggle with, because they can't get consistent for long enough to get the results. We go all in for 5 minutes and then when it gets tough or it gets a bit repetitive, which it does with all of these things. Look at anything you want to achieve. It's not always like the really exciting stuff. It's doing the hard yards, that deliberate practice over and over and over again. But if you can get into this mindset, right, you can literally achieve anything you want. I absolutely believe that with consistency over time. Think about it. Because the skill level you need is never out of your reach. Because if you think about consistency over a long enough period of time, you've always got enough time to iterate and improve your skill level. So the actual things that you need to do on a daily basis are not completely out of your skill level. They're within your skill level and they just inch you very slowly, very surely towards the level you need to be. Let's just take that classic goal of climbing Everest. Every single person listening to this, in my opinion, could climb Everest if you gave yourself enough time and enough consistency. If you started today as a complete beginner, novice, never even climbed a hill, In 10 years, for example, if you showed up every single day and slowly, incrementally built your skill level, whether it started with literally reading books on climbing Everest, and maybe then over time that developed into you actually climbing local hills or, smaller mountains that you just walked up like a Snowdon or whatever it is, but you started to learn the craft of mountaineering, but you were consistent in that over time. And I'm talking about everyday type of consistency over a long enough period. The skill level's never outside of your grasp, because as you move along, the skill level's within it. So it's not the actual doing that's the hard part, it's the consistency. This is the bit that everyone misses. Everyone looks at it and goes, I can't climb Everest, I haven't got the skills. Yeah, I know you haven't got the skills, but if you show up consistently enough over time, you will have the skills. Or they go all in and then don't show up consistently and go, nah, couldn't do it, wasn't for me, I didn't have the skills. You did have the skills. You just didn't show up enough times consistently over time to get there. That is what this is all about. It doesn't matter whatever it is you're trying to achieve. If you want to get the master's degree, transform your body, transform your career, it's the same stuff. You've got to get consistent today. You want to write a book, you've got to show up consistently over time and write enough words. But if you show up and write 100 words a day, it doesn't take you long to write a book. But most people can't do it. But that's where we're different. That's where I want you to get thinking differently about your life. Consistency over time, you can achieve anything. So whatever it is right now you're thinking, oh, that's like my moonshot goal, that is my Everest. Like, find out what your Everest is, start today. Because today you don't have to climb Everest. All you have to do today is read a book on mountaineering. It's that simple, if you get me, no matter what your goal is. But it does need to start, because here's the thing. If it doesn't start, guess what? In 10 years, you're nowhere. It's like, oh no, couldn't do that. No, now it's getting too late. Right, I'm running out of time. But if you actually start today, whatever it is, if you've got like this big dream, you're like, do you know what? I'm stuck in this career that I'm in. I want to do something different, but I can't get out, because what we do is we think, I've got to make this change tomorrow. No, you don't have to make it tomorrow. You've got a year, you've got 2 years, you've got 3 years, you've got 4 years, you've got 5 years. What could you do in 5 years? You could completely retrain. You could go back to the Open University and get yourself a degree or a master's degree in something completely differently, iterate around the edges, try new things part-time whilst in your career, and then whoop, diverge. But you've got to start. That's the thing. If you don't start, you'll wake up in 5 years and go, I'm stuck in this career still. Right? You've got to start. Consistency over time. This is all we need. And then the last piece. The last piece is this, the willingness to fail. This is the hardest bit that's thrown into the mix as well, because as soon as you start out on these adventures and you get outside your comfort zone, you're going to fail. It's going to go wrong. You're going to mess it up in a big way. I'm a great example of that. You see it all the time, but I'm constantly getting stuff done. Even the podcast, the launch was just, didn't quite work, right? We didn't get it where it was meant to go and all that sort of stuff on the day it was meant to do, right? And it went wrong. But there's a willingness to know that this stuff's going to happen. I knew going into it, some of it was going to go right. It just does, right? Because it's all new things. I haven't done this stuff before. I know if I haven't done it before, there's a high chance we've missed something, which we did. And that's why I didn't quite fire off. But I'm still here. And guess what? A day later, we're almost there now. It's almost launched on all the platforms. But there's loads of learning in that. Loads of learning. So I could help someone that was about to do something similar at a later date, not make those same mistakes. I get to keep the learning because it's burned into you, because it was quite, an experience. This is what it's about. And if you can embrace that as a part of that consistency over time, that things are going to go wrong and still keep showing up with the mindset, I'm going to learn from things when they go wrong rather than run from them, you become unstoppable. That is how you achieve anything, genuinely. Anything. I mean it, and I believe it with every single fibre of my body. Anything, right? Absolutely anything. Like whatever you can conceive in your mind is achievable with consistency, time, and the willingness for it to go pear-shaped, because it will. And if you can take the learning from that and keep showing up consistently enough over time, you will summit your Everest. It's a fact in my mind. That's the way I approach life. And that's the way that I'd love you to do the same. It's just there. That's all you need. Consistency, time, willingness to fail. All right. Hopefully that was helpful this morning. I'll go to some comments and see who is on.